This is the Ultium battery from General Motors. The largest American auto manufacturer is going all in on EVs. General Motors, we believe in an all-electric future. We're working to a goal where we have zero crashes, zero emissions, and zero congestion. GM CEO Mary Barra believes the company will dominate the US market. We're going to be number one mid-decade in EVs in the US. And this is the battery technology that is going to take it there. It starts with a single cell that we can use as a brick that we can build all these different vehicles with. And that Ultium cell then will go into a Hummer, a LYRIQ, or any other vehicle that we dream of in a very quick fashion. GM plans to invest $35 billion in electric and autonomous vehicles by 2025. It plans to have manufacturing capacity for 1 million EVs and is scheduled to launch more than 30 electric vehicles globally over that same time period. Many will utilize the new platform. The whole company, we intend to have all light-duty vehicles be EVs by 2035. GM is also building a commercial EV business under the BrightDrop brand name. It has begun delivering vehicles to FedEx and has signed a contract with Walmart. But it is hard to find a car maker of any significant size that is not working on an electric vehicle. And there are countless startups all around the world. So what makes GM's platform technology different? We've got the right partners with our 3 factories making these cells with LG. And now we're gonna make the world's best battery to make the world's best vehicles. Went inside GM's battery lab to see how it is different from what Tesla and other EV battery makers are doing and how GM plans to become a major player in the EV market. What we have here is a lithium-ion battery. And this is our large-format lithium-ion battery that powers all these vehicles. Tim Grew is the General Director of Electrification Strategy and Cell Engineering at General Motors. GM unveiled its Ultium platform in March of 2020. It is a whole new architecture for electric vehicles. It encompasses new battery designs, new motors, platforms, and even new software for electric vehicles. We're at what we call the STS Development Center, where basically we bring all the ingredients for together and we make sure that they work properly together and as individual components. GM partnered with the battery cell manufacturing giant LG Energy Solutions to develop the Ultium battery. The partnership is opening 3 battery factories across the United States between 2022 and 2024, 1 in Ohio, 1 in Tennessee, and 1 in Michigan. For the first time, we've got a single that can be the foundational brick to build all of these vehicles together. And with that, we're scaling it. GM has already teased, unveiled, announced, or begun producing several fully electric vehicles using the Ultium platform, the GMC Hummer pickup and Hummer SUV, the Cadillac LYRIQ premium SUV and Celestiq sedan, the Chevrolet Silverado EV full-size pickup truck, the Chevrolet Blazer, and a fully electric version of the Corvette. Battery technology is complex, but a battery generates electricity through a chemical reaction. A battery is made up of an anode, a cathode, a mix of chemicals that separates the anode and cathode, and an electrolyte. When the battery is discharging, ions move from the anode end to the cathode end. When charging, ions move in the opposite direction. The positive and the negative have these nice, I call them parking garages, right where you can store when they discharge, they go and they park in the positive side. And then the separator basically makes the traffic lane so that all happens very uniformly and can last the life of the vehicle. There are several things that make the Ultium platform different. It is, say some industry analysts, the first large-scale use of a new battery chemistry. The new chemistry considerably reduces the content of some very expensive and tough-to-source materials. EV batteries often use chemistries that rely on cobalt, often in combination with nickel, manganese, or other elements. Tesla, for example, has been known to use a combination of nickel, cobalt, and aluminum in many of its cars. However, it has recently been trying to move toward cobalt-free battery designs. GM has also taken the unusual step of developing a new battery management system that manages the battery at a more granular level than others. Most battery management systems, including Tesla's, work at the pack level. GM's system manages the battery at the level of individual modules. This will allow GM to replace parts of a battery pack bit by bit over time if needed, rather than replacing the whole pack at once. It also means GM doesn't need to stock old battery parts. Newer battery technology can be put into an old GM pack alongside older technology, and the pack will still function. Your cell phone has a pouch battery in it, or your tablet has a pouch battery in it, but they're obviously not automotive batteries. And so what we do with our approach is we say, well, we make it more robust, we add more insulation, we make sure it can last the life of the vehicle in our pouches. The idea of a pouch design is not unique to GM. But GM says there are aspects of its design that are proprietary. It's generic, but how we make it is very unique. Cells are tightly packed side by side, which reduces the space between them and allows for more energy capacity. The design is flexible and can accommodate cells of other shapes. GM's vehicles in China don't use the long cell design seen in the US. They instead use something called a prismatic can, a shorter, wider box. So this isn't an example of a prismatic can. It's got the same electrode in it as the actual, flat stacked one. Here you simply wind it up inside of it. China is the world's largest EV market. GM sold 2.9 million vehicles in China in 2021. Sales of new plug-in hybrids and electrics, collectively called new energy vehicles, NEVs, in China rose considerably. Its BIC, Wuling, an EV family doubled sales year over year. Do you think just China alone 5 to 20% of the world's market? They're going to be almost entirely electric in the next 5 years, or 2025 plan. In China, GM sells more electric cars than Tesla. Cell modules can be stacked vertically or horizontally as the vehicle design requires. They can be double stacked to include up to 24 modules in a truck, for example, or there could just be one single layer of modules in a sports car. This is basically a LYRIQ pack that you see right in front of you. So it's got all this structure integrated into it so that can be part of the vehicle, and there's 12 of those modules in here to meet the LYRIQ's needs. Now you can imagine if you have an Equinox, it'll be less than 12, and it'll just be a shorter pack. An Ultium battery pack can provide up to 450 miles of range on a charge at a quarter of the weight and about 40% of the cost of GM's previous battery designs. A vehicle with 450 miles on a single charge would place among the longest range vehicles available in the United States. Only the Lucid Air Dream Edition outpaces it with an estimated 520 miles. The Tesla Model S has a 405-mile range.